Good morning, and this one's a bit of a departure for me this morning because I don't normally make videos about Windows and Windows-based problems, but like everybody else I do run into them on occasion, and like everybody else I like to sort them out as rapidly as I possibly can because they can be a pain in the backside. And this particular problem that I ran into in the last couple of days has been a pain in the backside. And what it is basically whenever I plug a USB hard drive into my Windows-based PC, it doesn't show up. So let me show you what I mean. If we go into File Explorer and then across to this PC, you'll see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drives. And that's all well and good. And the last drive on the list here is Xbox Game Capture H. Now, last night when I was plugging this in, it wasn't showing up at all. And I tried plugging in several hard drives, none of which showed up. And I had a look around on the internet and was trying to work out what was going on. But some of the solutions were a bit heavy-handed, a bit like taking a sledgehammer to crack a nut, and some of them I thought might introduce more problems. So I kept looking. And eventually I came up with what I thought was a solution, but was only a kind of partial solution. And I'll talk about that one now. So if we go into Disk Management, you can see on here that we should have the same number of disks. So we've got disk 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 6 disks in all, because we got disk 0 as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And disk 3 is my Xbox Game Capture H. And so it's showing up fine. But what I found out last night was whenever I was plugging it in, it wasn't showing up on here or on here. So not under this PC and not under Disk Management. And I'll show you what I mean. What I'll do is I'm going to go and plug in another hard drive. So just bear with me. And you can see it's now showing up under Disk Management. What you will also see though is it's not showing up under this PC. And if we just go back and then forward again, you'll see it's still not showing. So Disk 6 is not showing under this PC, and that's exactly what was happening with Xbox Game Capture last night. And what I did with my Xbox Game Capture drive is I went into it and I right-clicked it under Disk Management, and I went into Change Drive Letter and Paths, and then I assigned a drive letter, in this case H. So what you could do is you could go in to Disk 6, you could do the same. Right-click it, change drive letter and paths, and then click Add, and then it'll assign automatically. It'll give you the next free letter. So in this case, it's I, and you could choose a different one, but why would you? So if you OK that now, that will then assign the letter to that drive, and it'll show up under this PC in here. Unfortunately, I don't know if you've guessed what's going on here, but if you then went and plugged in another hard drive, you would have the same problem. So you would then have to manually assign a drive letter to that disk. So I thought, well, okay, I can solve that problem because if I unplug Xbox Game Capture and plug it in, it'll still work and it'll still show up as drive H. But any new drives that I plug in, I'm going to have to go in and manually set them with a drive letter. So it's a bit of a pain in the neck. And what should happen is when you plug it in, it should happen automatically. So how do you solve that? Well, there is a way that you could possibly solve that. So just bear with me a second because I'm going to just unplug disk 6. And I'm going to try and solve this permanently so that it will set up your drive letters automatically. And what you would do is you would hit the Windows key and R, and then in the box that comes up you would type in services MSC or services.msc, and you should see it on the screen here. And then you click OK, and it should bring it up this window. It may look a bit different, might be a bit smaller, might be a bit bigger. But anyway, what you would do, you look down this list and you go right near the bottom to V, and if you look here, we've got virtual disk. Now that's the one you want. And if you look at it at the moment, it says running manual. So let's just click on it. If you double click it, and you'll see it says actually that it's running at the moment, but it says it's manual. So I don't know if it's actually running and it should be working. So what you actually want to do is you want to set it to automatic. So click on automatic and then apply and OK it. Now, it says it's running, so if that's the case, it should actually be assigning the letters automatically. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to reboot the PC and go into this and see if that's actually working, because if this doesn't work, there is another solution. So just bear with me and we'll come back and we'll see if that's working. Now, ideally you shouldn't have to reboot after doing this, but I found that sometimes with these things you do. So as I say, just bear with me and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've rebooted and now we've got disk management up, we've got this PC up, and you can see we've got the same drives and everything, and the other drives are still unplugged. So let's just go down and have a look at virtual disk. Where are we? Virtual disk. And it says it's running and it's automatic. So let's just double click and make sure. Yeah, that seems to be working okay. So hopefully that will work, but it may not. And if it doesn't, there is another solution. So just bear with me. I am going to plug in my other drive and see if it shows up and is assigned a drive letter. And it's showing up under disk management, but as you can see, it still hasn't got a drive letter. So setting a virtual disk didn't seem to work in this instance. So what do you do next? Well, as I say, there is another solution. Even though it's still not showing up, we should be able to make it show up. So just bear with me again, because I'm going to unplug the drive again, and then I'm going to try the other solution. Right, so as you can see, the disk has disappeared from disk management, and it's still not showing up under this PC as you would expect. So we don't need services anymore, so we can shut that down. But what you want to do next is you want to go into command prompt. And you should be able to find that here by doing command prompt. Okay, so that's coming up. Now, what you want to do is right click that and select run as administrator. And it'll say, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? You would say yes. And then you've got the command prompt. And then in the command prompt, you want to type Diskpart. So Diskpart and hit enter. And it'll say Microsoft Diskpart version 10.0. blah, blah, blah. And then it shows you Diskpart with a little cursor. And then you would type, next to the cursor, you would type auto mount. Auto mount, AUTOMOUNT. And again, hit enter. And it says here, that will now tell you whether auto mount is enabled or disabled. And if you can look here, it says automatic mounting of new volume disabled. So what do you do next? Well, what you would type is auto mount space enable, and then hit enter. Automatic mounting of new volumes enabled. And so if I type auto mount again, just to check, yep, it says it's enabled. So that should all be working fine. And what we need to do now is reboot the PC again and check that it works. And hopefully this time we should be able to have our drives show up automatically. So keep your fingers crossed. Right, and we're back again. And I've opened up disk management and this PC to show the drives, and also administrator for the command prompt. And so I just want to type in Diskpart again. And auto mount. Just to check it's running. So it says automatic mounting of new volumes is enabled. So we've done the reboot and it's still running. So hopefully now we should be able to plug in a new drive and it should auto mount. So here comes the moment of truth. I'm just about to plug in the new drive, so keep your fingers crossed. And the new drive's plugged in, so we're just waiting for it to show up. And here you go. Disk 6, ROMs, and it's showing up under this PC as well. So the last solution worked. So bringing up the command prompt and typing Diskpart auto mount and then auto mount enable I should say, worked perfectly. And so hopefully that should solve your problem. And if you still have this problem, let me know and we can maybe try and solve it ourselves. There is a further step you can do, and I will put a link into the Microsoft Answers page that provided this information. And the other step you can do is to type auto mount scrub. But I wouldn't actually use that unless you absolutely have to, because what that will do is that will unassign all the drive letters. And then you can guess that might lead to some issues. And, you know, if you're still having problems with getting the drives to auto detect, then that might be a solution as well. But I wouldn't do that unless you absolutely have to. But yeah, hopefully that's helped some guys out. Let me know in the comments. And if you like this one, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, as I say, if you have any more problems with this, let me know in the comments and we can maybe try and hammer them out between us. And somebody might know the answer even if I don't, because as I say, I'm no expert. But in the meantime, I'm done and I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of tea. And I'll speak to you guys in the next one. Bye, and thanks for watching.